compete with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be an interesting game. The Los Angeles Lakers are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA play-in tournament. Since the Lakers finished with more wins than the Timberwolves in the season, they will have home court advantage as the 7th seed in this 7 versus 8 matchup. And there's a lot to talk about coming into this game. First of all, the winner of this game will move on to face the 2nd seeded Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, while the loser will face the winner of the Pelicans and Thunder game in the 9 versus 10 matchup. But of course, there was a lot that went down for the Minnesota Timberwolves today. We saw an altercation between Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert that was really bad. Rudy Gobert ended up punching Kyle Anderson, and now Rudy Gobert, what's going to happen for him? Are the Timberwolves going to suspend him because he did not continue to play after what happened? And how do they move forward from this? Even if Rudy Gobert does play, there's probably still going to be an elephant in the room with what happened. And Jaden McDaniels, he punched a wall on his way to the halftime locker room and ended up fracturing his hand. So there's just been a lot of bad news for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Somehow, though, they were able to weather the storm and beat the New Orleans Pelicans in a big game to claim the 8th seed. Now, you have to wonder, is Rudy Gobert going to be available for this playing game? Because that could very much sway the results. He's a guy who is an elite defender and presumably would be guarding Anthony Davis. You probably would have had Jaden McDaniels on LeBron James prior to his injury, but obviously now that isn't going to happen. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves, while undermanned, do have guys that they could go to. You look at Mike Conley, who's a veteran point guard and can get his guys looks and can elevate the players around him. You also look at Karl Anthony Towns. He's a star player in this league, a guy who brings a versatile skill set as a big man. He can shoot the 3, he can score in the paint, and he can also score in the mid-range. He has a unique skill set given his size, so you have to watch out for him. But if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you don't want to play down to your competition as we've seen them do in the past. The Lakers have had games against teams like the Phoenix Suns, who are resting a ton of their guys, the Utah Jazz, who have been severely undermanned lately, but yet those games ended up being pretty close, and the Lakers had to fight for those wins. It seems like when they have big games, the Lakers play really well and play up to the competition that they're going up against. But if there's a team that is undermanned, like this Timberwolves team could be, especially if Rudy Gobert gets suspended, you have to watch out and see how the Lakers go out there and perform. Is there going to be that sense of urgency? Now, it seems like LeBron is getting ready for the playoffs and starting to ramp things up because he had a huge game today against the Utah Jazz. His jumper was looking the best it's looked all season. So if LeBron's jumper's on, you've got all that depth. You don't have Jaden McDaniels to go out there and guard LeBron. It's going to be a rough game for the Timberwolves. But on the flip side, if the Lakers play down to their competition and the Timberwolves go out there and execute, there's definitely something that could happen for them, and they could really compete with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be an interesting game. It's a winner-go-home March Madness-style game, and it's crazy that the NBA has implemented something like this with a play-in tournament. Obviously, not everybody is a fan of it, but even if you're not, you might have to admit this is a pretty interesting concept, and even with all this drama surrounding the Timberwolves organization, maybe they could still make something happen. We saw them get a big win over the Pelicans today. Maybe they could do the same against the Lakers. So we'll have to see what goes down.